Hello, and welcome back to Wonderland Asylum. Not back with the Titanic today. Today is New Build Day. But to explain what the new build is, we first have to go back in time a little bit, to when I was a little boy. Now, as a little boy, one of my favourite things in the world was dinosaurs. I think the majority of young men, little boys, would probably say the same thing. Dinosaurs are awesome. Now, one afternoon, my dad sat me down and said, we're going to watch a film. And he put on a film called The Land That Time Forgot. Now, that film features, as it suggests, a land that time forgot. It was an island inhabited by cavemen, dinosaurs, and all manner of prehistoric animals. I loved that because I love dinosaurs. And a group of German sailors, American sailors, and British sailors ended up on this island. Now, without going into the storyline too much, the other thing that kindled a love within me for was, obviously, shipping. But it doesn't take place on Bismarck, no. It takes place aboard a German U-boat. So, ladies and gentlemen, the new build for Wonderland Asylum, Hachette Part Works, build the U-96 U-boat. How many of you saw that coming, eh? So, looking at the pamphlet, because in this particular collection there are no magazines. The instructions are all online on the Hachette Part Works website. So no binders, no magazines, nothing like that. You just purely get the kits sent through. Now the first 4 come like this. I don't know how the future ones will come. But for now, it's very reminiscent of Bismarck. The way Bismarck used to come was all in these clear plastic blister packs. Not like Titanic, which comes in brown boxes. But yeah, you get this pamphlet, which folds out into a picture of the completed model. You can see there, it describes the features of the model. Again, much like both Bismarck and Titanic, there is a removable panel on the side to let you see inside. The whole interior is all detailed, it all lights up, it plays sounds. For example, I will read it out to you. Yep, the propellers run ahead and astern, the rudders rotate, the elevators fore and aft go up and down, it can drop and weigh the anchor, the front torpedo muzzle flaps open and close, the periscopes extend and they rotate, extendable radio direction finder frame, red and white interior lighting, and the diesel sound and the ASDIC ping. So that I would assume that's to do with the sonar. Now the red and white lighting, again, this takes me back to that movie. Because when they were about to surface, they turned the lights red so that the brightness wouldn't cause any glare or anything, as far as I know. But yeah, so it lights up red, lights up white, it's all singing, all dancing, and of course the hull is metal. So as I say, the instructions are all online, but without any further babbling or fanboying from myself, let's get on with stage 1. So, as usual, let's have a look at the parts. First and foremost, we have this lovely piece of hull that's absolutely stunning. Already pre-painted, pretty bit of weight, but it gives a kind of indication of the size that this thing is going to be. We have the 2 torpedo bay doors. As I mentioned before, these move. We have brackets, like that. We have a sprue with some kind of brackets again, for want of a better word. I believe they hold the actuator arm for the door. I need to use my tweezers. Again, this is so reminiscent of Bismarck. These are the actuator arms that will connect the doors to the motor eventually. And again, We have another small bracket here. They are very kind and give us a screwdriver, but I'm going to be using my own as usual. And one bag of screws. Now, one thing I will say is the bags aren't labelled, and again, that's very reminiscent of Bismarck, where the screws didn't have any labels on them. They just told you how many there were of each one and what colour they were. I'm going to move the camera up slightly as well, but they didn't give any indication as to what it was. They just tell you you have 7 LM screws, 5 BP screws, and you'll sometimes get them in the same bag, so you need to be careful about colour and size, etc. If there's any that are a bit ambiguous or perhaps not quite as clear, I will try my best to explain which is which. But these are AM screws and are the only screws that come in this stage. So the first thing we need to do is get the hull piece over, and we need the bracket that's labelled 1-6. Now that is, I do believe, this one here, which you can see is kind of a triangular shape, and then it has that sort of plinth there. Now I imagine that will be to attach the deck to later. So it goes with the plastic bit, the lip bit facing to the bottom. It goes on just here, perhaps. It does if you're trying to fit the right way. That's not a good start, is it? Yeah, okay. So it goes on with these two screw holes there, facing onto the hull. Now, let's get some of the screws out. We need 2 initially. Now, normally, these builds, they do give you at least 1 spare screw, but I still don't recommend losing any if you can possibly avoid it. Okay. Okay. Now again, very similar to Bismarck, these screws go in nicely. There's no fight in them. So some people like to use a bit of lubricant to put the screws in. Titanic, it's certainly an idea, but with this, there's no real need. And that bracket goes on there, just like that. And as I say, once the 2 sections are together, I imagine that'll be for the deck to be fitted to. It could, of course, be absolutely wrong and be talking garbage. So the next connector piece we need is the one that's labelled B17. I'm talking absolute nonsense. It's labelled 1-7. Don't know where I'm getting B17 from. And it looks like this. It's the L-shaped bracket we need next. My apologies, the pictures aren't overly clear. And it goes on with these 2 holes here, in just like that. Again, the shape gives a kind of a guide as to where it goes. I'm going to get the rest of these screws out because we will need them all in this stage, I believe, looking at it. Again, on the screwdriver, and down it goes. Now, I have had a look at all the stages I have. Yeah, it looks very, very similar in skill level to Bismarck. Again, I keep comparing it to Bismarck, but, well, both German World War II war machines, so, but, yeah, this is a skill level probably above where Titanic is, so Titanic's quite easy, whereas this is going to be more challenging. There's more sort of fourth wedge forming and things like that required, which weren't the case with Titanic. Okay, and the next piece we need is this piece of bracketry here, and it goes on, well, it will only go on one way as far as I can tell. Yep, goes on like that. Fits into place nicely. Again, it's just the AM screws. Go. I think I'm needing to replace the head on that screwdriver, actually looking at it now. That's the joys with a precision screwdriver set, is you can just swap the head out. Again. This screwdriver set has done me through Bismarck, most of Titanic and the Millennium Falcon. So I can't really complain if that's it starting to wear out a little bit now. And then the final bracket goes on just here, and it looks like this. Again, it will only fit one way, so it goes on these two holes facing to the hull, leaving this bit facing upwards towards where the deck is going to be. Now again, it's important to note that if you haven't lined up properly, the screw won't go in. So I do apologise because it is quite challenging for me even to see because it's all black on black. So I assume you're not able to see a single thing. Well, it doesn't appear to be sitting properly. I'm not happy with how that's sitting, so I take the screw out and have another little gander at what went wrong there. Ah. That's better. Yeah, the problem is the way the screw holes have lined up is they do have a slit all the way along in the metal, probably to relieve tension, but it means that the screw can go in a little bit off kilter, and that's what happened there. And you don't want that. There we go. But that is all the bracketry fitted. Very good. So next, what we need is this sprue, and we need UL, and we need 1-2. So it has UL written on it, and that has UR written on it. So the one that's labelled UL, we get our sprue cutters off. Sprues, oh no! And we cut off the bracket there, which is labelled UL. Cut it off. We need again one of the screws. We need the door, labelled as I say, UL. They're both labelled UL. And we need one of these pieces, one of these arms. Now I believe they're both the same. Yeah, they are. Okay. So it's showing in the picture that that little indent should face the long piece there, so it should face that side. And it goes in basically there like that. That's where it should sit on as far as I can see. Yep. Then the bracket will go over the top, line up with the screw hole, and that should actuate, it does. I'll just check before I put the screw in. get that screw in nice and tight. It needs to be tight enough that it will hold that actuator arm, and it is perfect. Could do being a wee bit tighter, so I'll use their screwdriver just to give it an extra little bit of torque. It needed that. So I think, as I say, my screwdriver end is on its way out, unfortunately. So that's that one done. And then we need to do exactly the same with the one on the other side, labelled UR. So that's upper left and upper right. And again, the bracket there labelled UR looks exactly the same as the one we've just used. Cut it off the sprue. Again, taking this piece, laying it down on the end, putting the bracket over the top, line up the screw hole, which is easier said than done, I might add, just because of the way it sits, there's no indent. And then again, screw it in, and there is the actuator arm, just like that. And they both do actuate very nicely. But those are the two doors. That is the front of the U-boat. Again, I'll turn it round. It just looks so good. But that is all there is to do in stage 1. Okay, so that's us for stage 1 of Build the U-96 U-boat. Massive smile on my face. What is in stage 2? The torpedo door motor. So yeah, again, that is the start. That is the very, very front. So she looks absolutely lovely. And again, these are the doors that we made as well. One goes on the left, one goes on the right. Can I resist showing you? No, I can't. Can't resist showing you. So they will go in there, like that. Looks amazing. But yeah, thanks as always for watching. Any feedback, comments, criticisms, drop them below. Do leave me a like, and do remember to subscribe to see the rest of the U-96 as well as the rest of the Titanic. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and as always, peace out.